The Joseph Gamel and Archibald Gamel family tree, roots and branches. It would be nice if we knew more about our distant grandfather, Joseph Gamel, but all we have are census records and a family Bible record. We don't even know his roots for sure, but probably his forebears came from Ireland. We do know his wife, Isabel Gillis, had Scottish ancestors that came to the United States in the early 1700s. They received land in the New York colony near today's Albany along what would be the Vermont border. They called the town Argyle. Today it's a very small village. Isabel's grave is in the Old Scott Cemetery near her parents, along a narrow but busy country road. After Isabel's death, Joseph moved westward, to Cayuga, New York, where he remained until after his second wife's death. Joseph's son, our ancestor Archibald, had already ventured to the far west, Ryle, Illinois, where he married Eliza Tate in 1846. His youngest brother, George, also made his way to Illinois and established a farm in Ryle by 1848. In 2009, his farm was given an award for being family-owned for over 150 years. Trudy Ballinger is George's great-great-granddaughter, and her brother Bennett Gamel now owns the farm. Archibald's sister Catherine left for Wisconsin, sisters Ann and Ellen to Iowa, and Sabre to Missouri. Probably their brother James was also in the area. After 1858, Joseph joined his sons in Ryle, where he died in 1863, and his son George just 7 years later in 1870. They are both buried in a tiny cemetery in Ryle. Archibald moved to Iowa in about 1878, died about 15 years later, and is buried in a beautiful cemetery in Marshalltown, Iowa. His wife Eliza lived with their son William in South Dakota until her death in 1911. Eliza has some interesting roots in Germany through the Brunner family, who immigrated to America in the early 1700s, settling in Maryland and then Kentucky. Generation 3 is quite small, just Edward David and William. The brothers both settled in Iowa before their father Archibald in about 1875. Edward David then moved on to Nebraska. Since he had 8 children and at least 20 grandchildren, his descendants are abundant. William later lived in South Dakota, but most of his children lived in the Sioux City, Iowa area. Despite having 7 children, they only gave him 8 grandchildren, so his descendants aren't as numerous as his older brother Edward David. Joseph, Archibald, Edward David, and William formed the roots for our own family trees.